Yeah.
And this game was at Stokely. John Ward called the game. And then the score was 52 or 56-52 with 7 minutes left in the game after you hit a 22-footer. And at that point, you had 8 points at that time against Kentucky in 1972. You remember that too?
It's vague.
I'm
I'm having a lot of trouble remembering anything that happened past yesterday.
Well, I've got a few others here. Against Kentucky in 1972 with 2 minutes and 10 seconds left, Lynn Kosmowski goaltends against Andrews. And when you threw the pass in bounds, someone threw something on the floor. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
And it's close to your feet. And you came down the court and drilled a 24-footer. And then in 1973 against Kentucky, Rodney Woods from 4 Mile, Kentucky, jumped center against Andrews. Do you remember that?
I don't, but that was a real mismatch because Rodney was 5'11" and Andrews was 6'11".
Yeah, in 1973, you wore number 25, and that game was at Stokely. And I was going to see if you recall something here, if I can pull it up just right fast here. Let's see. Here we go.
Must not have been real important. He's forgot it.
You hear that?
Barely. Wow.
There's another one right here. Anyway, I've got something for you.
What do you got, buddy?
Tom Hodge, who's co-owner of Twin City Dealerships, he knows somebody at UT, and we've got a jump drive of games for you from your career.
Hey, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. You know, I for years I tried to get UT to send me some game film.
Well, there's like 30 different things on there.
I've got almost 2 feet in the grave, and I hadn't heard a thing from them. So this is really cool.
That jump drive.
You'll have to show me how to use that because that looks like something you plug into my car.
Marcus will probably help you.
It's like something I plug into my car. But yeah.
I don't remember. Do you remember? No, you know this guy's name at the bottom down here?
Barry Rice. Is he one of the Rice guys, Rice Oldsmobile? Or?
I don't know if that's maybe the guy at UT that apparently somebody just retired. It had something to do with that department, and he took care of it. But Tom Hodge from Twin City Dealerships is the one that got that for you.
Well, most of the video and most of the audio from my age is the video is really blurred, and the audio you can hardly hear it. It's been a long, 55 years.
You'll have fun. It's got your pre-drills, when you did all the.
Yeah.
Well, they were still working on sound back then.
Another example.
And I didn't realize this, but the band would go around the outer court, and then they'd be 5 in a row, and they'd have to split when they go around the goalpost. It's pretty cool.
It was they put on a real show over there.
Yeah.
It was like the Harlem Globetrotter.
No plate spinning or dogs dunking or any of that.
We all had a routine, we had to do in the warm-ups, and it was
It's got a thing on your warm-ups too. It's pretty.
This is another example of NIL deals. Even doesn't matter how long you stop playing all that, they're still going to work it out to get you. So congratulations, and I love to watch. Y'all put on one of these big screens. Right here.
Well, Dwayne, I really appreciate that.
You're quite welcome. I know you
coming back after surgery. That I'm not feeling near as much pain here this morning.
Well, I know you said you'd tried and you didn't have much luck, so I kind of asked around.
Yeah, I haven't had very much luck over there. I just figured they burned it all with the books or whatever over there, book burning, whatever. But I got a couple of things here that I want to talk about. You mentioned Rodney Woods. I want to talk about him here for a few minutes. Something happened to him last week. But before I do that, I want to hats off. We don't discuss the NIT in here very much, but, that is the oldest tournament in the country. And at one time, back early, 30s, 40s, it was the tournament.
Right.
It wasn't the NCAA. It was the NIT was the one that people that tuned into. But hats off to Georgia and Indiana State, who are in the Final Four of the NIT. And really, Seton Hall is there too. But Seton Hall and Indiana State, Marcus, I really feel should have been in the NCAA tournament. Indiana State, especially 31-6, 31-6, and they
don't get it.
And they played in Terre Haute the other night, beat. Dadgummit, who they beat? Cincinnati or? I can't recall, but they have advanced, and they had a full house down there in Terre Haute, filled their arena, and boy, it's a shame, I think, that they didn't get in. And I think Seton Hall was very deserving of getting in. But they're playing the finals in Hinkle Fieldhouse there on April the 2nd. Indiana State will play Utah at 7 o'clock. Seton Hall will play Georgia at 9:30. Georgia had a good win. They won at Ohio State.
Oh, that's great.
So, there's a team that's 20-16 without going on to the NIT. It would just have been a so year for them. But now they've got a chance to get some more playing time in, a chance to win a championship. So there are some good things that come out of the NIT.
Let me ask you this. What do you think about the 4 or 5 teams that refused to play in the NIT? I thought that was terrible.
I tell you why Indiana decided not to play in the tournament.
So they didn't have to play Indiana State?
I'll tell you where they're going to send them. They were going to send them either to Indiana State or Butler. And they probably weren't going to win either one of those games. That's exactly what was going to happen to them. And I would have bet money that they would have sent them down to Terre Haute to play Indiana State in one of the opening games. And and Patino backed out too.
I just thought it was.
You go ahead and play. It's a national tournament. I had this wild idea. I brought it up here before, but the NIT. People think, well, it's just a second place tournament. People understand that the NCAA doesn't have the 68 best teams. They have the 68 best teams according to the rules that you can get in as far as your conference is concerned.
Right.
Correct.
They're not the 68 best teams. So there's a lot of really good teams that probably should be in there that are in the NIT. So I came up with this, I think a year or so ago, I came up with this idea. It was just combine the NIT and the NCAA. Just split the country in half, have the NCAA tournament over here and the NIT tournament over here. Now, it's not the NIT as we know it. But you've got 2 championships. You do your same draws. Maybe expand the NCAA tournament. Have the NIT here, NCAA over here. Put the teams wherever you want to put them, and then you have an NCAA championship and an NCAA championship. 2 championships there for people to win. NIT now means something, and then play for the national championships between those 2 teams.
There you go.
And
I think that's a great idea.
way, the NIT has become
relevant.
It's a factor now.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
You see? And the NCAA owns the NIT, so go ahead and do it. Expand it. Make it part of the NCAA tournament. Have 2 champions. That way you can hang a banner.
And another great opportunity for the NCAA to make money.
And
That's all it is.
More money.
And a true national champion.
More money.
Lots of money.
Yeah. I don't care how you split it. Split it right down the Mississippi River or whatever you want to do. Put one on one side and one on the other side. And because I think it'd be a good thing. But
it'd be a good idea.
Heck, I'm not running things, so
maybe
they'll figure I'm the same
It's a
guy.
shame.
I'm the same guy during spring football. I want them to play a game against somebody other than themselves. Scrimmage somebody other than themselves.
That's above our pay grade, isn't it,
Mike? I guess. I want to talk a little bit about Rodney Woods. He played with me over there. Dwayne mentioned him here. Great player at Tennessee. I played 1 year with him when I was a senior. He was a sophomore, point guard. And he was terminated at Wayne County High School in Kentucky last week, and it has caused quite an uproar. He has been the school's basketball coach for the past 38 years and has won over 800 games. He was the winningest active head coach in Kentucky, college or high school. Woods is in the Kentucky Basketball Hall of Fame, and the team's gymnasium floor and the gym is named after him.
Goodness.
The new school superintendent, Don Neal, did the firing, and supposedly he and Woods has had a difference of opinion going back some 10 years. Evidently, Don Neal wanted the job 10 years ago. Rodney's wife was on the school board, and she didn't want him on there. And he got shot down on that deal, and he's never forgot it. So he let Rodney go. Rodney's 71 years old and plans to spend more time with his grandkids and getting to Knoxville to see the Vols play more. That may or may not happen, but somebody may come a-calling, and he may get back into coaching because that's all he's had. But Tony Iruli, how do you fire a guy at 38 years? He's 800 wins, and he's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. Sounds to me like somebody needs to be getting rid of a new superintendent.
Yeah, I was going to say he better watch his back now because I'm sure they're going to come after him, especially the way it was done. Not that it was done, but the way it was done. And
what aggravates me is your guy's giving you 38 years. Yeah. He's won 800 games. You thought enough of him to name the floor after him. He's in the Kentucky Basketball Hall of Fame. My golly, you don't want a guy like that leaving his career with that kind of taste in his mouth.
So what is the community doing?
Oh, they're in an uproar. It's been on television.
Well, they ought to be.
It's been on television. Former players are going crazy.
Yep.
And of course, it's the central office says, we have no comment.
No comment.
We've heard that before, haven't we? We have no comment.
Yeah.
Or we've decided to go a different direction.
Yeah, well,
you have. You've gone from top to bottom.
Sure,
You know, with one stroke of the pen, so to speak.
Wow. And he better be checking when the next election's supposed to be going on for the superintendent.
Yeah. Well, a little bit more. I'll get Marcus involved in here because Marcus was a figment of everybody's imagination 50 years ago. So we got to get him back involved here a little bit. He's been out of sync. But Rodney Woods, you've heard of Chris Lofton. Rodney was the guy that got Lofton here.
Oh, really?
That's exactly right. He had seen him play in high school, and he just picked up the phone and called the coach where Lofton was playing and said, well, how's the recruiting going? And the coach says, well, not very good. Valparaiso and a couple other schools are interested in him. And Rodney says, I can't believe. Picked up the phone, called Buzz Peterson over here and says, hey, there's a guy from Kentucky. You can get him, and you can get him right now.
Really?
And that's how Lofton ended up here.
Wow.
Well, how about that story? Nobody even heard of him, Marcus.
Wow.
Just was out there.
Yeah, well, that was always part of his story was, he was so underrated and undervalued. But once somebody gave him a chance, look what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That year, Rodney was a sophomore. I wish we had him when I was a junior because we got caught without a point guard. And we was really playing 4-on-5, and we tied with the SEC championship that year. But the senior year, Rodney was the point guard. We went all the way down to the last game at Kentucky. We were tied with Kentucky for the championship, and we played that night in Lexington for the #1 spot. And we lost that game 86-81. In fact, we had a 5-point lead with about 3 minutes to go. It was looking real good.
You got it in. You got it in there.
We lost that game 86-81, and but I really enjoyed playing with Rodney. A really smart player, great ball handler. He could shoot the ball, and he could run the offense. He could run the offense. He was like a coach on the floor, and there was a lot of people didn't want him. We had a couple of Kentucky players that ended up at Tennessee because Rupp didn't want him up there in Kentucky. You see, so we got Rodney, and of course he had a good career here. And
so was that a stunt that Mears did, having him jump against Andrews?
Well, I don't know.
Because he's like this, and Andrews is.
I guess maybe it was just a psychological thing.
I think it was.
I don't know, but Donnie Kentucky's tough on basketball coaches. They let Rodney 38 years, 800 wins. They let him go, and then there was Adolph Rupp. Remember Adolph Rupp? They let him go because he hit the retirement age, and they had a law in Kentucky that you couldn't coach or work over a certain age, so they let him go.
They sure did.
Regardless whether he had over 800 wins too.
Wow.
But they announced this week that Cal's coming back.
Yeah. And a lot of people up there not too happy.
You're right about that too.
Who's coming back?
Coach Cal.
Yeah.
From
Calipari.
Oh, Calipari.
Yeah,
oh, yeah, he's gotcha.
Yeah, he's coming back.
That was real
I'll tell
shaky.
you what, he ruined my bracket. I mean, I thought Kentucky was going to be on a roll, and I thought they were going to roll right into the Final Four based on their draw and everything, and the way they'd been playing. Beat us here in Knoxville, was playing real well, and just went in there and laid a complete
Like Mike said, there's a lot of people not happy about that too.
No, well, you remember his deal was he was always getting the #1 or 2 high school recruit being a one-and-done thing. And he had a lot of success getting those type of kids and winning a lot. and ever since everyone seemed to caught up and with the with the transfer portal going on, he hasn't had that type of success like his. No. So they're not happy.
And that's the measure of it, and I think why NIL can be so deceptive and bad in some ways. But you can get a same kind of quality player and maybe one that was overlooked, but you're getting him with the experience of the college game. So when you get to March Madness, their eyes aren't wide. They've been through it. They know what a postseason tournament is like on the big stage. And I think that's bitten Kentucky because if you look how their game ended, there were a lot of miscues in the last 5-6 minutes where those guys, I mean, they're 18 years old. They're playing in front of a national audience. There's going to be some nerves in that situation.
Hey, their guard Shepard, he didn't look like he'd even been on the basketball floor. I would have swore in that game against Oakland he was throwing the game.
Every one of
He
them,
was non-existent.
every one of them looked like they were pushing too hard, which is that common mistake when it's your first time doing it. You're trying to do too much.
Yeah.
Well, where it looked like, Calipari was ahead of the game. All right, now it's kind of caught up to him, and it's kind of bypassing him right now. And that's kind of where he's at with the Kentucky program. And I'm sure next year is going to be, hey, you need to get it done here next year, or
he's going to have to adapt.
He's
going to have to adapt to the game, or the game. I'll say this: he has to adapt to the game, whatever it happens to be next year, because who knows?
Who the heck knows? Yeah.
But between all the lawsuits and stuff, what NIL is actually going to look like by this time next year.
They still owe him $33 million if he left now, though. So I mean, they're going to keep.
That's nothing up there.
Oh, yeah.
Or they lose that much at the racetrack.
That's racetrack.
Yeah, that's nothing up there in Kentucky.
Couple horses, huh?
After what down there, Jimbo Fisher down at Texas A&M, $33 million doesn't look like anything, does it, Donnie?
$75 million not to coach. I'd be
Absolutely not.
I'd be the Hamas.
That's your deal, isn't it, Tony? I mean,
that was my Maryville College deal.
Okay.
That's right. Right. So, but yeah, I mean, I think it's just going to be it's a whole different deal right now, and with the transfer portal, like we've talked about, it's changed the landscape of college sports, and even baseball. Kansas City baseball are getting transfers coming in all the time.
Here's what I'm saying: where does it leave the high school kid? Let's say you go out and you hit the transfer portal and you say, well, we got a couple of good high school kids coming in here. They can play, but they're not really ready. But you go out and you get a couple of kids at their position in the transfer portal, and the high school kids don't play much.
Yeah.
And then after 1 year, they go, well, I don't get to play very much, so I'm going to the transfer portal. You see what I'm saying? Well, where does it leave the high school kid, Tony?
Right.
Yeah. That needs a year or two to, get himself acclimated and so forth. They're not patient enough to wait
first of all, less scholarships are going to high school kids right now. Because, say football where we give out 25 scholarships. It used to be 22 were going to high school players and maybe about 3 or 4 would go to a junior college player. Now what's happening is, give you example, Colorado where, prime time, he's an idiot. Anyway, that's just my opinion. But, he's got 4 or 5 high school kids that he offers, and he's got 20 going to the transfer from the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So what's happening is across the board, you're getting less opportunities for those college kids to get football scholarships or even basketball scholarships because the transfer portal is kind of eating up those opportunities right there.
And what you're getting is you've got fewer programs who are willing to develop a freshman to invest the time because, hey, if we actually make him good, he's just going to leave.
Yeah. And
if we spend 2 years developing this guy into a scorer, and Indiana's going to come along or Tennessee's going to come along, and he's going to transfer and go to a Power 5, so it's cutting off some of that middle of the road, those middle conferences. It's cutting off some of what they're doing.
Yeah, the kid to Oakland that hit the 10 threes, he's out of there.
Yeah.
The coach has already said.
You think he'll be there next year?
He's already signed a commercial deal. A commercial type deal, and he's out of there. He hits 10 threes, and I'll see you later. Yeah. And wins a big game.
He was on the transfer portal.
One game, I'm out.
He was in the transfer portal 24 hours after their last game.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's It's a shame that we have evolved to this situation.
I don't know how coaches and Tony, you can address. I don't see how coaches year in and year out can coach that, because administrators and fans, they don't care. They don't care how many people went to transfer portal. They don't care about kids that come in that are freshmen that don't stay. They don't care. They're interested in what you're doing right now, and if you're winning.
Winnings. How many wins?
That's
all they care about.
Forget all this other stuff.
Right,
your job is on the line, and man, it's tough. It was a tough enough job without worrying about all of the transfer portal, the NIL, and all of that.
Sure.
And now look what you got.
That's what I mean. I mean, don't be calling them student athletes, because the student part is not part of the deal anymore. It's getting kids and then putting together the best team you possibly can without those type of things where being a student and your academic success is important. They could care less of it right now. And most of those guys at the Division I level, they're not going to classes. What they're doing, they're taking classes over, through the computer, on the internet. And some of them they're not even there. It's they're having someone else standing in for them. Yeah. And so that's where the education.
Marcus, the common we do a little bit more research than other people and look into some different things. I looked into the NIL top 10 money deals last week because I was just interested in that. And we've got Alabama. We've got Alabama there in the Elite Eight, and we've got Tennessee. And you're thinking, well, two SEC schools, man, that's really good. Well, guess what? Those are the two top SEC schools NIL money. Alabama's 4th, Tennessee's 9th.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
In NIL.
Wow.
4th and 9th. Now you're going, hey, Tennessee's first-time deal. It's a first-time deal that they're in the Elite Eight. It could be the first-time deal or second-time deal in the Elite Eight, and maybe the first-time deal they go to the Final Four, and they've never won it before. Maybe they can win it. And then you're going, well, can money buy you a championship? Like I mentioned earlier, Marcus, they're number 9. They're giving out a lot of money over there.
SEC, it just pays more.
Yeah.
Who's the number 1 team in the SEC? Got to be Texas A&M, LSU.
Now this was nationally.
Nationally, okay.
Yeah, and I just was going through there to look at seeing which ones.
And that was basketball.
And I think North Carolina was in there, I believe, too.
Gotcha. Okay.
And of course, I can't.
I was thinking a different sport.
I can't talk about them; they're gone now. But I know Alabama and Tennessee, and maybe a lot of that money was football money, and maybe not basketball. But I'm sure basketball is paying pretty well.
Well, if you listen to the commercials during the broadcast, you get an idea, because there's a point in time players were never allowed to be, that was against the rules for them to be on a commercial, and now almost every commercial on the radio broadcast has got a player on there.
Sure. And I tell you what was it, Caitlin Clark, the girl from Iowa. I mean, she's on about every other commercial now.
Oh, yeah.
She's hitting the big time with all her deals going on commercials.
Well, they need something besides that Buffalo on there. So
I think that's Mike's favorite commercial, the Buffalo commercial.
Hey, I was telling you before the show started, if I see that commercial one more time, I'm telling you, that's it's just one after another and late games in the commercials. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, I was watching the Buffalo about 12:30 this morning during the Tennessee game. It was one of the commercials.
But speaking of, it smells pretty good in here too.
That's right.
If you're hungry, if you need a place to come watch the game tomorrow, or
this is the place.
Blue Tick is smelling good right now because I can smell the chicken grilling.
Tony, let's switch gears a little bit. Talk a little bit about spring practice up at Carson Newman football.
Well, we've finished. We're allowed 15 spring practices. We finished 10 already. We didn't practice today, giving the players a break for spring ball, and it's been a really good spring practices this year. Coach Ashley Ingram, our new head football coach, coming from the Naval Academy, bringing the things that traditionally Carson Newman's been all about. Fundamentals. Strong in the discipline area for the players and the way we do things here, the way we conduct our practices, and I know he's generated a lot of excitement, at the Carson Newman. We're getting a lot of former players and coaches coming by and watching practice a lot more than we've had over the past several years. And, so I think we're off to a good start. We're in a transition right now where last year we were more of a spread offense. We're going back to what Carson Newman know best, running the option series. And people are enjoying seeing us running the option and pitching the ball and doing all that stuff, what Carson Newman has been a tradition of over the years with Coach Sparks being the head coach for over 30 years. And so we're going off doing pretty well. Defensively, Larry Slade, who was former secondary coach at Tennessee's our defense coordinator. When Coach Ingram came in, he kept all but one of our defensive staff together. So our defensive staff has stayed relatively intact, and we've been playing pretty good defense over the last several years. And so defensively, we've been playing real good. Offensively, making the transition, being a spread offense into a veer offense, it's going to take a little bit of time, with the players, getting themselves adapted to that type of offense. But we're off to a good start right now.
Are the linemen all excited to be run blocking primarily now?
that's
not having to wait back for somebody to hit them, but just getting a tee off almost every play.
Yeah, the way football, especially offensive line, where offensive linemen nowadays, when they're blocking, it's going basically sideline to sideline. Okay.
Yeah.
Just running to the right and let the running back pick a hold. Now, but when you're running the option offense like we're doing, the offensive linemen, they're coming off on the ball, and they're hustling. And we're real big in terms of offensive linemen. Our coaches, we're all running with our offensive linemen to run down the field and finish the play and all that.
They got to make a hole now.
Yes. And so, it's a whole different deal right now. And, I really enjoy the enthusiasm that we have, not on the defensive side, but on the offensive side of the ball as well, with our new coaching staff on that side, and, our expectations on, not how we do things, but how we finish plays off. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's going to be real good. We got a good core of running backs. We've got a good core of quarterbacks in our team right now. Our offensive line is developing, because that's going to be the biggest transition, is getting them away from the sideline to sideline blocking mindset to now going straight off the ball and not knocking people back. And so, so that's where we are right now, and it's been a good thing so far.
Good.
Is it going to be more of a ball control? Are you not going to throw the ball much? Is it going to be more of a ball control type Army, Navy type offense?
Yeah, that's what you're going to see. It's more of a ball control. Harding University out of Arkansas won the national championship in Division II. Harding threw the ball 28 times the entire season.
Wow.
28 times. Rushed for over 6,000 yards.
Good grief.
All right. And so that's, that's kind of the mindset. Now, I think we'll throw more than 28 times, obviously. But, because, the pass game is still important, for our offense. But, it's going to be developing our offense to run the ball and knocking people off the ball. And the thing is, this defenses nowadays, the defensive coaches, they don't know how to defend this type of offense, because they're so used to the spread type of offense and, what those formations and that philosophy entails. Now when you're all of a sudden here comes Carson Newman. We've only got 2 days to prepare for the option series and all the stuff that our offense will bring to them. They're going to have some problems, getting ready for that type of offense.
How do you think it'll how do you think it'll affect your recruiting as far as quarterbacks and receivers, for instance, with that type of offense?
Right. It'll give it some restrictions, because I think a lot of times players, they're looking for that type of spread type of offense. But at the same time, the Division II level, I think you're going to have players that are more open to our type of offense, because, they're looking for that opportunity to get a scholarship and, play college ball and all that. So, I think, there's, it's going to affect us a little bit, but, there's enough players out there, especially option type of quarterbacks, coming from spread offenses, but likes to run the option and carry the ball and still being able to throw the ball at times. I still think they'll be attracted to Carson Newman. We have a big coaching clinic this Friday that, coaches, got well over 100 coaches coming in to talk about the option series that we're putting into our offense. And so I think it's going to be a good thing for us right now.
Good. Hey, it's time to turn the page. The Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment will be up next. You're listening to the Goteez Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way to get paid. Getting set up is easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the Goteez Sports Page Player of the Week segment, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority, proudly serving Blount County for over 75 years. This past Monday, the Tennessee Lady Vols lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament, 79-72, to the North Carolina State Wolfpack. Lady Vols and Coach Kelly Harper finished the season with a 20-13 overall record. In the last 2 years, this program has one quality win over a ranked team, and that was against LSU in the SEC tournament last year. Marcus Fitzsimmons, I'm going to start with you. Where's this program right now?
Well, if you listen to that paper in Knoxville, they're in real trouble. Seems like some people over there want Harper's job. The jury is still out to me. I think there should be some staff changes. I'm not sure that Kelly needs to be out per se, but I think there needs to be some shakeup on the staff and some major ones. Despite what went on in the game with South Carolina in that last play, Kelly can coach a good style of basketball, but the recruiting is where Tennessee is being let down. You can't live totally on transfers and compete in women's ball the way it is right now. So things get better, there's a shakeup, or they don't, and there's a change of horses, and we have an athletic director who seems very capable of making good coaching hires.
Yeah.
So I'm not too concerned about it because I think they will get somebody. If they decide to change horses, I think they will find a good coach to bring in.
Yeah. Donnie Moore, this Lady Vol basketball program was once measured by the number of national championships, but now I'm not really sure what the measuring stick is. Can you explain that to me?
You know, I wish I could. You know, you're right. We were once measured by the number of national championships, but we're measured by when we get a win now.
Big win.
Yeah, a big win.
Yeah.
You're right.
And that's not happening too often.
You're exactly right. It's not. So, you know, this program is not what it used to be. Like the old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be.
Tony, I guess one of the things that I don't know, in Kelly Harper's defense, is the fact that Rakia Jackson missed 5 games. You know, they lost those 5 games.
Right.
So if you figure, you know, you're 20-13, you have those 5 games back, you know, is that a difference maker? I don't know, but that seems to be the I don't want to maybe excuse isn't the best word, but alternative.
Right, but you know, injuries are part of it, and how you're going to be able to overcome that, even with good ball players. But I think you're right. I mean, she's been the head coach for the past 5 years. Is that correct? And you know, and where are the quality wins during that tenure? And I think if a change has not been made, I think there will be a major shakeup with her coaching staff. They obviously got to do a better job of recruiting incoming players. But you know, I would say if a change is not made this year, then I think next year it's definitely going to be on the line.
Yeah.
And she's going to have to, because there's a standard when you talk about Tennessee basketball, and right now the standard is not being met. And so and I like her. I think she's a quality coach and a good person and all that. But Tennessee, you know, that's not what you're being judged on. And so so I think something's going to have to take place.
You're never going to be for those fans who want those days back. The parity in women's basketball, you are never going to see a program dominate like Tennessee and Connecticut did.
Right.
One after the other. You're not going to see that happen again. The game's there's too many players, good players available now for a team to put on that kind of run. South Carolina, the fact that they put on the streak that they have is more impressive than it ever was with anything Connecticut or Tennessee did with their unbeaten runs. Because South Carolina has played a lot better quality top to bottom teams on that run than those teams faced.
Then you also add your LSU, your Iowa, you know, other programs like that. And you're right, it's not just UT and Connecticut anymore.
But Tennessee should expect to be in the Final Four or be a contender for the Final Four.
Correct.
At least every other season.
Sure.
That needs to be the bar that you need to be held.
We understand all that parity. It sounds good. It really does. But these people that were around and saw all those championships, they ain't buying that parity, are they, Dwayne?
No.
Or am I missing something here?
And I think their recruiting is going to have to get on track really fast. And I can't understand why they don't have more athletic people, you know, girls, and that are, you know, you can't teach quickness and being a real good athlete. It just seems like these other teams, like the LSU's and everything, are more athletic. I mean, you just watch them; they're quicker, you know, they're more athletic, and she needs to start recruiting that, or I'm afraid she's going to lose her job. I mean, I like Kelly too, but it's
got to win.
You got to win.
Got to win big.
And you need to recruit more people with quickness and athletic ability. I mean, you've watched them. I mean,
women's basketball is, you know, they're not at the same level in terms of the transfer portal like men's basketball, are they? Or are they still recruiting more coming out of the high schools and developing the players? And so, you know, if that's the case,
I think they're looking at the transfer portal too.
Well, I tell you, if her job,
Rakia Jackson came in here from the transfer portal.
Yeah, if she stays on for another year.
Now she's athletic, that type player right there.
Yeah, and in the South Carolina game, Dwayne, I'm sitting there thinking, well, why aren't you going to her? You know, the game's on the line. Why do you got this other girl out there shooting a 25-foot three-point shot and getting it blocked?
Exactly.
Get the ball to Rakia Jackson. Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what
I mean, that's just me talking.
But you need more of that type, athletic type people. I don't until she starts recruiting those type players, you're just going to see the same thing over. You know?
Well, the thing is, you know, if she does stay, you know, and gets her contract renewed for another year, you know, she's going to have to hit that transfer portal and get difference makers right now.
Right now, she needs it right now.
You know, getting that high school player and develop for a year or two. You know, that person's doing it for the next person.
She had to hit the portal.
Donnie Moore, I had a really good let her rip on that South Carolina deal right there at the end. I really did. I was ready to come in here and let her rip on that last play. What in the world were you thinking to let that girl just take a three-point shot when you got fouls to give?
Oh.
And I had that all worked up. And then I just didn't feel like coming in here. I just didn't feel like coming in here. But
well, it was a good thought anyway.
I mean, you know, when you're talking about coaching, you just can't make mistakes like that.
No,
that game should never.
Would you see her face?
You got Key down there, and she doesn't even come out there.
No.
She just lets the girl catch the ball and shoot the three.
And they didn't put any pressure on the person throwing the ball in either.
Was foul her, and there wouldn't be any time left.
And wasn't that her first three-pointer that she's made all season?
Was it her whole career?
I think it
in her whole career. She never made a three-point shot her entire career.
He could have been.
Anyway, it's things like that that just. I mean, that's the number one team in the country, and you had them beat.
Exactly.
You just had them beat.
Yes.
And let them get away.
I'm glad to see you're over it. You're okay.
South Carolina and LSU are dominating the league. I mean, they're going to get the players. South Carolina's going to continue to get the players as long as Staley's over there, isn't she? I mean, how are you going to compete with that?
But that's the thing is you want to compete with that. And right now, did anybody think that Tennessee was going to beat both of those teams this season?
Well, they certainly had an opportunity to beat both of them.
They had an opportunity to beat one of them. I mean, but you had 3 games there, and nobody expected Tennessee to win more than one of those if they won that, and they didn't. So you want to be at the level where you're competitive with them. Because, I mean, there are people who want more. That obviously, there are people who want the good old days back and want you to win 3 or 4 in a row and all that. If you can compete with the top of the league, this league, the SEC, you can compete with anybody, and you're going to be in contention. You're going to end up in the Final Four every couple of years, and you're going to get a chance to play for a national title. But when you're continually losing the Sweet 16, when you're not hosting a Sweet 16, hosting a pod in the first round, that's not acceptable to the Lady Ball fan base.
Yeah.
No.
You're supposed to be a top 16 team.
Donnie Moore, let's say that things don't work out here. I don't think they're going to make a move this year, but let's say we're there this time next year. Are we looking at Carol Lawson? Are we looking at somebody like a Wes Moore? You know, it's been around this area, done a good job at North Carolina State. You know,
knowing University of Tennessee, who knows?
I know.
You know, who knows where they're going to go?
I think Carol Lawson's the only one out there that would have the profile.
Yeah, well,
she would probably make a good
But you know, they've always wanted to get somebody that's, you know, been a former Lady Vol to run the program. Is that the direction?
Well, maybe it might be time to go out of that mindset where let's look and find the best.
Well, that's what the men did, and when you do that, you like my man Dwayne Easter over here sitting to try to get somebody's jersey retired because, you know, those guys hadn't been around here. You know, those coaches haven't been around. They don't have any ties, whereas those former players, they like that former player to be in here where they can relate and move forward, and that hasn't been the case in the men's program. You know, we've gone through a lot of outsiders, haven't we, Dwayne?
Exactly. But, you know, a lot of these players played under Summit, so I mean, you know, there's probably some good coaches out there, you know, that played under her. But yeah, I'm like, go for the best coach. You know, if you want to play at the top, get the best coach you can get. You know, if it costs Costs the money. That's what these other schools are doing. So why can't UT? Because we were at one time we dominated women's basketball.
Marcus, if you're the AD at Tennessee right now, do you make the gut move?
I would, if it was my decision, I would give the option for some major changes before, and say, here's the goal, here's what you got. We need to see these kind of changes.
You gonna set your husband down, tell him he doesn't have a job? Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I said. My wife would be real impressed if I'm setting a husband down.
Honey, I hate to break the news to you, but you're not going to be on the bench next year.
But I think the trap for Tennessee is what if you're going to bring in a former Lady Vol, or if you bring in somebody from outside, what you want is that Summit understanding of the game, and you want that kind of discipline in the game and how it's played. But you don't get that by overemphasizing how Pat did specific things, because some of those things do not translate the way they did 30 years ago onto the court. So you've got, you can't just say we're going to emphasize rebounding and run the same drills Pat ran 30 years ago and expect to get the same result. You're not going to get that now.
These kids don't know who Pat Summitt is unless they're being told. They weren't around, you see?
Yeah.
It's like Newt Rockne in Notre Dame. They're still trying to win up there with the Rock, and they're having trouble because these kids, they don't relate to the Rock, you see, because they and Tony, am I right on this or not? The kids don't.
First of all, Newt Rockne. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
St. Newt.
And same thing with John. You could take Pat Harry, you could take John Wooden out there.
Sure.
Those kids out there, they don't know who John Wooden. They've heard of him.
Yeah.
But they don't have it doesn't have the impact that it has on us or other people that were around when those people were coaching.
Well, remember, in those days, it was Tennessee and Summit and UConn. And those, the best players, those were the two schools, bar none. And now, that's definitely not the same thing anymore. And, it's and plus, I think women's basketball coming out of the high schools, much better athletes coming out there right there, where it was a little bit smaller back then. So, that's a challenge. If they don't make a change, whoever's going to be coming in, whoever's going to still be there, I think she's going to have to make some coaching changes and really uptick her recruiting efforts.
Exactly. What do you think about Kelly and Coach Cal up at Kentucky getting together for lunch and just kind of talking over their problems and saying, just about how are we going to go into this next year? What do you think about that, Marcus? It's not a long way up to Lexington. They could get together, couldn't they? Kind of talk about their situation.
I'm sure that's possible. Like in the many things we think up in a range for people, why not add that to the list?
Yeah.
We've solved the problems with playoffs and high school playoffs and the FBS and everything else over the years. So let's add that to the list. Let's put that conference meeting in there.
Yeah, why not?
Just call them and let them know they're going to be meeting next Wednesday somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Two people that's got problems.
Maybe they can meet
problems.
Maybe they can meet in New Tazewell. It's kind of in the middle there.
Hey, it's time for a break. When we return, it's the Boys Sports Spotlight as Goteez Sports Page veteran Donnie Moore will be up. You're listening to the Goteez Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today:
Call us first. We'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for the Boys Sports Spotlight. First up is Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore with his sports headlines. And, Donnie, before I get to you, I want to wish everybody out there a happy Easter.
Yeah, we echo that around here with all the guys
Happy
around
Easter,
the table.
everyone.
Happy Easter.
That's my favorite holiday.
It is?
Easter, yeah.
Yeah, well no wonder.
We got
No wonder.
my wife's got some relatives, and their last name is Easter Day.
Okay.
So I said, well,
Day.
Sunday's their day.
That's right.
Sure is.
Easter Day.
It's my day, too. Yeah.
All right.
Well, after the show, I've got 2 soccer games, 1 Little League baseball game, 1 softball game to go see.
Wow.
You know, when
Wow.
you got the
Boy,
grandkids. and
That's
all
right.
that.
You are a busy man today,
And 2
Tony.
Easter egg hunts.
And 2 Easter egg hunts. I mean, my kids, we have an Easter egg hunt behind our house, and Carol puts, like little quarters or dollar bills in it. You know, the grandkids, they make off with pretty good money in there.
They
Hey, can I
sure
come
do.
over there?
Oh, God, I tell you what.
They wouldn't know the difference. So,
Yeah.
so just come on, Dwayne.
I know there's at least 3 or 4 people. I have no idea who they are.
There we go.
Are you in that deal? You're probably like the buffalo in the commercial.
I mean,
you just cut those kids out of the way,
I
don't
just
you?
I snort and I growl and I let them go. And all
Box
that.
out, box out, box out. Fundamentals.
Fundamental boxing. They push me out of the way.
Boy, he can box out. Can't he? All right, let's go with some sports headlines of the week, brought to you by Fast Signs. Based on the grades the players have given the Kansas City Chiefs organization on the NFL Players Association report card, which came out at the last of February, the Chiefs are ranked at the bottom of the pile. Although they have won 2 consecutive Super Bowls, they obviously have off-the-field issues, owing to the fact that they were given a D or an F in 6 of the report card's 11 categories.
Is that coming from the players?
That's coming from the players. The second lowest overall grade of any team in the league, ranking ahead of only the Washington Commanders. The Chiefs received an F in the following categories: ownership, locker room. The players said they were promised a new one after the 2022 season, and it did not happen. Nutritionist, dietitian, and training staff. Coach Andy Reid, however, was given a grade of A+.
How about girlfriends of tight ends?
Yeah, now that I'm not sure.
I don't think that's a category.
That's not one of the categories.
Okay.
Team owner Clark Hunt may be willing to fix some of the problems, but it doesn't sound like a new team locker room is in sight in the near future.
Man alive. That shouldn't be.
That's disturbing, isn't it?
Well, it is, but I don't know the details of the Kansas City's ownership of that stadium, and sometimes those sort of things can get in the way.
Yeah, it can.
Because you're asking the owner to dump a couple million into a facility that he doesn't own.
That's true.
And I'm not sure if
I don't know either. We don't know all the details.
Yeah, plus their training facility is probably not at the stadium. It's probably
we don't know
so,
all the details.
I don't know if they're talking game day locker room or the practice facility locker room or what they're grading on. But
the players said that up until just recently they didn't even have chairs in front of their lockers.
Wow.
Well, it's made them a tougher team, and they got 2 Super Bowl rings. So I don't know what you want. I mean, who needs a training staff being tougher and has gotten you to the Super Bowl twice?
That's true. Well, the NFL has banned the hip drop tackle, as we discussed a week ago, and it will result in a 15-yard penalty and a first down.
Ridiculous.
Players are not happy.
No.
Hey, Tony, before we go on here, explain to our listeners what the hip drop tackle is.
Well, it's like you're chasing the guy, you're behind the guy, and you grab him by the shoulders, and then you just use your weight and momentum just to drop.
You slide down, grab it, and around the hips, and use your weight
to bring him down.
You rotate around him.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, people don't practice that.
No.
I mean, it's a tackle, and you're I'm behind the guy, and I'm just going to reach down, and then I'm just going to use my weight to bring him on down.
And your weight drops down on the runner's legs is what it is, and the NFL says it's dangerous.
Well, the players' union voted unanimously that they didn't want to change.
That's true. But the NFL banned it anyway because they said that it was a player was 20 to 25 times more likely to be injured by using a hip drop tackle.
So why don't we just put flags on their hips and just tell guys, just pull the flag?
That's the thing.
Hey, you played for Lon Hershburn. That sounds like Lonnie.
Gosh almighty.
That sounds like Lonnie.
There you go.
Let's just put flags on them.
We can measure that and do it, but we can't measure the playing surfaces and determine what is and is not working, and if there are certain stadiums that are more dangerous than others. I find that hard to believe.
I do too.
Donnie, what's the penalty for that?
The penalty is 15-yard penalty and a first down.
Okay.
You wait till a critical point happens during a game or during a playoff game where they throw that flag.
Or don't.
Or don't. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. It's the game of football. All right. You know, they're taking all these some things. It's just part of the game. And so how are they supposed to tackle someone when you're behind the guy and and trying to bring him down?
Can't grab him.
You stop running,
can't do a horse collar.
Please stop running. So
grab hold of their.
I understand the horse collar.
I do too.
Yeah, I got no problems with that.
You can grab a hold of their hair, pull them down.
Yeah, you can grab them by the hair.
Yeah, but
that's legal.
That's sure. Yeah, ought to be. You got long hair. I'm going to yank it down.
Yeah.
Well, here's another change.
I damn long hair like that.
Here's another change for upcoming this season.
Kickoffs.
Yeah, there will be no fair catches outside of the end zone in the playing field. Okay, you can't fair catch it this year.
On kickoffs.
On kickoffs.
Okay.
Yep, and the clock doesn't run until the ball is touched by a return team player. And the majority of the coverage team players cannot move until the ball is caught. There's, I think, only 2 can. Only the gunners.
I think they're adopting a little bit of that XFL.
That's what I'm about to tell you. Okay.
It sounds like.
That way, the play starts from the instant the ball is caught instead of when it is kicked. They call it a hybrid kickoff. It's a hybrid of NFL, XFL, and USFL. That's what they're calling it. It's a hybrid kickoff. Play doesn't start.
And it's going to be so messed up.
Oh, from the start? Yeah.
Players and officials and coaches are all going to be confused by it.
They are.
Because we're all confused.
Exactly. So the kickoff has changed.
Yeah.
But what it will do is teams are going to start paying for the return man again.
Yes. They're going to start recruiting
they're not
kickoff
going to,
returners.
They're not going to be comfortable just letting anybody go out there and try to fair catch it.
Well,
they're going to go back to the return man.
What they said was that 79% of kickoffs were not returned last year.
Correct.
There was no excitement in kickoff in the return game.
Right.
None.
Well,
but if I remember right, that was a safety move because too many players were getting hurt by the hard impacts on kickoffs.
I know.
So now player safety doesn't matter with the kickoffs, but now it matters.
Yeah, they tell you they're ultimately concerned for the safety of the players, yet they change the kickoffs because of the bottom line.
Sure.
They want excitement.
What happens if we just take the goalpost out of it?
Well, if this doesn't work, you know what they're going to do. They're going to take kickoffs completely out of the game.
Which would be just an idiotic.
And put it on the 25
and
start.
Put it on 25
or
and
30
start. Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know who's making these decisions in all these sports and all that.
Goodell. He's the one that pushed this through.
Who did?
Roger Goodell.
Roger Goodell.
Yeah, Goodell's had a few, I think, head injuries during his time, too.
Let's move on. Pole sitter William Byron passed Ross Chastain with 25 laps to go and got back on the track 3 seconds faster than Chastain, thanks to a fantastic pit stop by his Hendrick Motorsports team. 26-year-old Byron held off a hard-charging Christopher Bell by 0.7 of a second for his 12th career win in 222 races at the first road course race of the season, the Echo Park Automotive Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas last Sunday, Mike. Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman, and Tyler Reddick rounded out the top 5 in NASCAR action. The U.S. men's 3x3 basketball team that will be competing at the 2024 Paris Olympics has been selected. It was announced on Tuesday of this week by USA Basketball. The team consists of former college star and number 10 NBA draft pick of 2011, Jimmer Fredette. You ever heard of him?
I remember the name.
I remember the name. Kenyon Barry, the son of Basketball Hall of Famer Rick Barry, Kareem Maddox, and Dylan Travis. 4 guys on the team. 3 players and 1 sub. That's all they got.
So these aren't NBA players? Or?
No.
Okay.
Different game, but
it is a different game.
3 people, that is, with 5.
Yep. All 4 played college basketball. Fredette, Barry, and Maddox at the Division I level. This same team won silver at the 2023 FIBA 3x3 World Cup in Vienna, Austria, losing only to top-ranked Serbia in the final. They won gold at the 2023 Pan Am Games and gold at the 2022 FIBA AmeriCup. So good luck to the Americans.
Don't lose to Serbia.
No, don't lose to Serbia.
You know where Serbia is?
Yeah. All right, on this day in sports, March 30, 1981, the 43rd NCAA men's basketball champion, Indiana beats North Carolina 63-50. Hoosiers future Hall of Famer, a point guard, Isaiah Thomas, named the tourney's most outstanding player. He was a good one, wasn't he, Mike?
He really was.
Yeah. 1986, the 5th NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. Texas beats USC 97-81. The Longhorns' Clarissa Davis voted the most outstanding player. First complete undefeated season in NCAA history. The Texas Longhorns were 34-0 that year. And they were good. 1990, Jack Nicklaus debuted on the Senior PGA Tour with a 71, that was 1 under, in the first round of the Tradition at Desert Mountain. He wins the event by 4 strokes over Gary Player. That was 2 good players right there.
You know, when that senior tour started off, I remember I was at Sanford, and they played outside of Birmingham, and they had a threesome group of Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, and Lee Trevino.
Wow.
And it followed, I mean, it was unbelievable. That was really great.
Yeah.
1991, the first exhibition baseball game was played at Joe Robbie Stadium, the Yanks versus the Orioles. You know where Joe Robbie Stadium is?
What were the teams again?
There was the Yanks.
That was
Yanks
Joe
and
Robbie's
Orioles.
down in Miami.
Yeah, it's Miami.
Miami.
You're right.
How about
1997.
That's pretty
1997, the 16th NCAA Women's Basketball Championship. 1997, Tennessee beats Old Dominion 68-59. That was the Lady Vols' 5th national title. 2001, American swimmer Michael Phelps breaks the 200-meter butterfly world record at the U.S. World Championship Trials in Austin, Texas, becomes the youngest male to ever set a world mark. He was only 15 years and 9 months old.
What a career he had.
Boy, he did.
Man,
Didn't
he's awesome.
Yeah.
Birthdays, 1940. Jerry Lucas, NBA center, won Olympic gold in 1960, played for the New York Knicks, born in Middletown, Ohio. He's 83 years old today. 1970. This is a birthday that you won't forget. Secretariat is having a birthday today.
Yeah.
American Thoroughbred Racehorse, won the Triple Crown in 1973. Born in Caroline County, Virginia. Died in 1989.
So,
what a horse.
Won the Triple Crown the day I got married, June the 9th, 1973.
Outstanding.
So it was definitely a good day.
50 years ago.
50
Wow.
years ago.
Going on 51 years ago.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, we were almost late to the wedding. My buddy and I, he was the best man. We had to watch that race. You know, it came on late.
Yeah.
We barely made it.
I
We had
bet.
to watch the race before we got to
Of
church.
course.
I'm glad he made it.
First things first, you
That's
know.
right.
And one more birthday today, 1988, March 30th, Richard Sherman, American NFL cornerback, played for the Seattle Seahawks and also still plays, I guess. Does he still play?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say.
No.
He's
I guess-
he's a Thursday night analyst.
All right, there you go.
Yep.
Thursday night analyst.
Jimmy Dykes?
Played for
No, Sherman.
Richard Sherman.
Richard Sherman.
Played for the San Francisco 49ers to end his career. Born in Compton, California. 35 years old. Happy birthday, Richard. And that's all for this week's Sports Headlines, brought to you, as always, by the good folks at Fast Sign.
Well, we do a pretty good job of that.
Yes, we do. Now let's bring the Boyd Sports Spotlight into sharp focus. Welcome home, Gunner, and back to you.
Time to bring back in our Goteez Sports Page crew, Donnie Moore, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Tony Iruli, and Dwayne Easter. We're right in the midst of the NCAA basketball tournament, Marcus, and I don't think there's any greater time in sporting events in America than there are in the next couple of months, which starts off with March Madness and the NCAA basketball tournament, and then we go to Augusta for the Masters Golf Tournament down there, and then we're off to Churchill Downs, Louisville, Kentucky for the Kentucky Derby, and then we wrap it all up at the end of May for the greatest spectacle of racing, the Indianapolis 500. Marcus, it's a great time for sports in America right here in the spring. You couldn't bring spring in any better than these events, huh?
You know, the next 8 weeks are great, and this is why I've always struggled with, and you've got spring practice going on with college football, so you've got a sprackling of those kind of things in there. That's why I don't see a room for the UFL.
And you got Major League Baseball season starting.
They're trying to kick off today with the season, and it's just like every weekend there's a big sporting event you are pitting yourself against. Are you going to go head-to-head with the Masters? Are you going to go up against some of these races? Are you going to go up against the NCAA tournament? Are you going to go up the first week of baseball? I mean, there is something for them to battle every weekend, and it's exciting to watch, but, you know.
Yeah, I still think there's an interest in football, and even in the spring. And, I think the ratings have been, been solid. You know, the big thing about the spring football is their financial backing or solvability. whoever that means. That sounded pretty good. Didn't it?
Solubility, yeah, but
I have no idea what that
they've
means.
They've got to get butts in the seats and people
good.
watching.
Correct.
Picked
Now,
that up from Howard Cosell back in the day. Didn't you?
I just made it up. It sounded good. I think that was something that
Donnie
Don-
Moore, is that a word? You're pretty good on words.
He's looking it up right now.
I'm not sure.
That's something that Danny Don.
It's like Yogi Bear. He's got these.
But you know, it's you know, the USFL, you know, they've tried all the spring sports. It's just being able to financially being able to make it. And you know, I think last year all the games were played in Birmingham. This year I think all the games are being played down in Texas to eliminate a lot of the financial aspects in terms of you know, travel with the team and practice and all that type of stuff. So you know, I enjoy watching spring football.
Yeah.
You know, compared to watching women's field hockey, and so you know, I think there's still a spot there. But you know, and having the Rock being a financial backer of it, you know, brings a little celebrityism. How do you like that one, celebrityism?
That's another one.
Into it.
Yeah. Marcus, I failed to mention that, you know, the NCAA Women's Basketball Championship this year, creating a lot of enthusiasm and drawing well with Caitlin Clark, with excitement there at Iowa, and also with South Carolina being undefeated. So there's a lot of interest in on that side of the basketball court, so to speak.
There is, and I love the fact one of the best things we got out of the COVID season was the disparity between the men's and women's tournament. And through all those methods and means that were put into play, having them get an equal footing with the games treated the exact same way on another network where it wasn't, because there was a point, remember like 10 years ago, the first round, you were getting a rotating broadcast of like 8 games at one time, and they were just randomly switching between them. You couldn't follow anything on that. So that's a great improvement. It's one of the many things that have helped bring that tournament up to par with the men. I just hope they can continue the interest when Caitlin graduates, because I don't know who's going to take her place as
ain't nobody going to take her place
as the darling of the dance.
I mean, there's nobody going to take her place.
So she passed Pistols.
Right. I mean, she is the darling of this dance. So
I mean, she's got every other commercial. She's in it. I mean,
you're thinking, well, I don't know who's going to replace her. Well, who's replaced Pistol Pete Maravich? Huh? I mean, how long has his records stood, Dwayne?
A long time.
Yeah. I mean, that's unbelievable. You know what he did as a player in 3 years.
Yeah.
But 3 years and no 3-point.
Yeah.
Shot.
So did you get to see him when he was playing?
I was a freshman. I got to see him play. You know, we weren't eligible, so I didn't play against him. But I saw him play down at LSU and up here as a freshman. He didn't score very well. You know, they played him a boxing one,
3.
and Tennessee walked the ball up the court. And, you know, he'd score 20-some points would be a good game for most people. But when you're averaging 47 or 48, that's an off night, man.
That's off night,
And of course, Tennessee would say, well, we put the clamps on him. He only got 28.
Only got 28.
Or 25. But when you're scoring, like I said, when you're scoring 48, that's not quite where we're at.
No.
Yeah. Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, the bowl prediction segment will be up. You're listening to the Goteez Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net.
Your newspaper, that's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today: call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and it's time for this week's bold predictions. And we don't have a lot of time here, so we're going to have to zip through a little bit. Got some to cover, so I'm going to kind of go around the board here. I'm going to start with Dwayne Easter. UConn and Illinois is playing today. UConn checks all the boxes. They check all the boxes. Offensively, defensively, they are above and beyond everybody else that's left in the tournament. Do you agree with that?
I agree.
I agree with it wholeheartedly. Yeah. They got Illinois, a team that Tennessee played in here and beat earlier in the year. Has Illinois got anything for this UConn team today? They're playing right up there basically on UConn's home area in the East.
Yeah, no, I picked UConn.
That's the way I'm seeing. But this is a pretty good Illinois team. You know, they've been real consistent throughout the tournament, and they've got some good wins. They got a win over Iowa State, which was a quality win. But UConn looks to be the team to beat. If I'm Tennessee and I'm looking at going to the finals, I'm rooting for Illinois today. Because I've already seen them. I've got them on the board.
Definitely.
Tony, Alabama at Clemson, or Alabama and Clemson play today. I can understand why Alabama's there. They beat North Carolina, played a good game. They can score 100 points. They can put all kinds of points on the board. Clemson, I don't have any idea what they're doing here.
First of all,
I don't have any idea.
I am in big-time trouble because my family are Alabama Clemson people.
Oh.
So I'm going to PO half my family right now. All right, and so, but I am going to go with Alabama.
Yeah. Well, you can't have a championship game without Alabama or Clemson in anything, right? Football or whatever. If we're talking football, it's Alabama, Clemson, and now we've got them in basketball. Can't get too much.
That's right.
I got 8 members of my family mad at me right now. So
Marcus, Duke, and North Carolina State. Hey, they're talking Jim Valvano and North Carolina State. The dream lives on. And we're saying, how are they in the tournament? You know, all of a sudden they get hot in the ACC tournament. They win it. People didn't even have them in the NCAA tournament. And here they're on a roll. They're in a hot streak. We got Duke and North Carolina State in an ACC rematch. There's going to be at least one ACC team in the Final Four. Who do you like?
I like NC State. I like the energy they're playing with. And I like that storyline that we could see a Final Four for Tennessee's perspective with 3 teams that they've already played with NC State, Illinois, and Alabama.
Yes, how you got to be rooting for that deal.
That would make the perfect storyline to make me believe.
Yeah.
But I don't have the big game selection, so I'll let somebody else talk about that one.
And Donnie Moore, I saved the best to last for you, and I know we're running
Good,
short of time,
Donnie.
but I've said the best because I think this is the game left in the bracket.
I think
and
this may be the
and
best.
That is Purdue and Tennessee. You got Purdue, good inside, good outside.
Yep.
They got the Player of the Year in Edey inside.
Yep. Versus the SEC's Player of the Year.
Tennessee's got the guards. Can those guards offset Purdue's guards and steal a game from Purdue right there in the Midwest?
It's time that Tennessee had a great game. They got one. They're due a great game because they've had great defensive games, but not a great all-around game yet. I think it's time. Tennessee's due. I'm picking the Vols.
So you're going to make all those Indiana fans happy up there that they're not rooting for Purdue today.
No, they're
tell
not.
You that right
I
now.
know they're not.
So if anybody up there's laughing, listening, they're going to like you, Donnie.
Yep.
Up there, right? 'Cause they don't want Purdue to get any
Yep.
banners hung in that field.
Come on,
That's
Indiana
right.
fans, back me up.
Hey, blow that whistle. And
You got it, man.
Call it a day. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Goteez Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishbel back at Loud Media, our host, the Blue Tick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For everyone on the Goteez Sports Page crew, until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone